Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here. I'm about to cover the patch notes for update 1.05 and I do apologize for my voice. My throat's a little bit dead, so excuse any coughing and anything like that, but I still wanted to cover the patch notes because I know how awesome this patch is. It's a huge, massive patch, and I think there's a lot in here that we should talk about, so let's get started. I've got some rain sounds in the background, so you're not just listening to some video with like nothing else. And I like to have a little bit of rain sounds in the background or something like that to just fill the space, especially when I'm reading patch notes. So let's get started and let's enjoy. In this patch, the first and most important thing is that Ultimate Valby is getting released today. All right. She's got 2 new Transcendent mods that come with her. Spiral Tidal Wave will change her bouncy bubble bullet, and it will be replaced with a projectile that fires in a straight line. Spiral Tidal Wave is stackable and can be fired 3 times in a row and attracts impurities during the Gluttony Intercept battle. Hydro Pressure Bomb. Instead of plop plop, she leaps forward and deals damage to enemies around the landing area. The more enemies in the laundry state, the more powerful the damage of the Hydro Pressure Bomb. So this one will modify her ability to teleport. Instead of teleporting, she will leap forward. So this one looks pretty interesting as well. They've added some amorphous materials for Ultimate Valby. So hang on, let me just shift the window slightly to the left-hand side so that we have a bit more space. There we go. Okay, this is better. The amorphous material patterns 0011, 044, all the rest of these have been replaced by their AA variants. All right, this is where we'll acquire the Ultimate Valby stuff. So we'll have to take a look at how the replacement effect has happened, because some of these previously were used for other Descendants, and if you already have some of these amorphous materials, don't worry, you will still be able to open them up. But now they've been replaced with the AA variants, which will be opened up at the same areas. So please do look forward to that. Okay. The amorphous materials of the AA variant can be acquired and used in the same place as the original. So just tells you that. Okay. The new Descendant is Luna. Alright, she's a music-based Descendant, and I'm very excited to see how she plays. Her passive skill is called Improvisation. Using any skill will increase her inspiration gauge, which allows Luna to use enhanced skills. Her first active skill is called Stage Presence. Using the skill changes Luna's weapon to her unique weapon, and performing the notes in time to the music by using skills or hitting monster stacks or hitting monsters stacks and increases her skill power modifier. Take note that this increases the skill power modifier, not the skill power. I will do a video on the difference between the two at a later time, but just take note that it is skill power modifier that goes up. Okay, her second skill allows her to play upbeat music, passionate stage, and this is basically to increase the skill power modifier of her allies. But it can also, when enhanced, increase the skill critical hit rate and damage of allies. You need to know which Descendants function off of skill power modifier. Here's a hint. It's most of the Descendants that use damage over time skills. So she's actually very good for pairing with Freyna, Blair, and Valby. Okay? Descendants that tend to use more direct damage do not benefit as much from this. Okay? Relaxing Act. That is her third skill. It allows her to play relaxing music, and hitting an enemy with a note grants an effect that instantly recovers the MP of Luna and her allies. Gaining the enhanced effect increases MP recovery and reduces skill cost. Delightful Stage is her fourth skill, and it allows Luna to play delightful music where hitting the enemy with a note increases the inspiration gauge and decreases the skill cooldown of allies. Gaining the enhanced effect increases the inspiration gauge even more and immediately resets the cooldown of her allies. So, yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. Luna has 2 Transcendent mods, okay? So the first is Nimble Footsteps. This enhances her movement speed and amplifies the effect range of her performance, making it easier to support her allies. The second one, Noise Surge, transforms all of her skills into combat skills. Performing the notes in rhythm unleashes a powerful AoE attack. When the inspiration gauge is full, it summons a moving stage where she dances to recover MP and shield. So she can go from audio medic to combat medic, which I think might be pretty cool. So I think I'll look forward to that. Okay, amorphous materials of the following patterns, okay, I'm not going to read them out, can no longer be acquired. There are now AA variants, and I think that they'll most likely rotate these around, so do look forward to that. And this is where we'll get all of Luna's stuff. So I look forward to actually checking these out and finding out where they can be farmed. They've added a new hard void intercept battle for the new boss monster Gluttony. All right, so you have to intercept Gluttony and collect the Hungry Sonic external component set and the blueprint of the ultimate weapon Peacemaker. The Hungry Sonic set has a 2-piece set effect that grants toxic resistance, already useless because we already know resistance plays no part in this game. And the 4-piece effect grants an effect that recovers MP on hitting the target with a skill's unique weapon, as well as an effect that increases skill duration and MP heal modifier proportionally to max MP. Might actually be really good for Lepic. Just saying, okay? For new ultimate equipment, there is a new weapon called the Peacemaker, alright? This is a hand cannon where using a dimension skill grants the single reload for peace effect. At maximum stacks, the single reload for peace enables you to fire the loaded ammo in a single quick burst when taking an aim shot. So you can stack it up and then go full Cassidy on somebody. I think it's going to be an interesting weapon, but it requires Descendants who use dimension skills. So we'll see if this plays a part. There's another weapon that's actually really good this patch, and it's one that can already be acquired, so do look forward to that. Yeah? Okay, there's a new module that's called Arcade Concretion. It'll decrease your offensive stats and movement speed, alright, every time a skill is used, but each stack of the concretion increases your defense and MP instead. As we all know after recent events, defense is not very useful past 16,000, and I'm pretty sure you don't need a lot of MP, so quite frankly, except for certain builds and Descendants, I don't foresee this module being very useful. But we will see. Maybe somebody can come up with something interesting, you know? Okay, they've added a whole bunch of products to the store, so y'all can look forward to it. Valby's summer theme, VS's summer theme, male summer theme sets have all been added, so make sure you check that out. I'm actually looking forward to the new summer theme skins, so I think a lot of them will be fun. Okay, cool. Now, there are some content improvements, so now we're going to go section by section. These are more crucial changes that I will try and timestamp and all that kind of stuff, so make sure you pay attention to each individual section. In terms of the content improvements, they have stopped module swapping, alright? So during intercept battles and infiltration operations, you cannot equip or remove modules, change presets, or change loadouts, okay? You can now collect all loot from the lost and found items. After checking the map with acquired information in the library, closing the map now leaves the library open. They've added a camera shake on and off features in the game options, so you can turn that off if it's bothering you. They've added the ability to select preset search keywords for PlayStation and Xbox, so this is more of a console change. They've added commas after every 3 digits in the game menu and HUD to make it easier to read the numerical units. You can now check key stat information in the weapon, reactor, and external component inventories. You can now register equipped items as attached items, okay? Saving a preset now automatically registers equipped items as attached items. This means favorite items with the heart, alright? You can now turn the red dot crosshair display on or off in cities in the game option. So basically in Albion, you can turn off the red dot crosshair. They've added an image to some items in the graphics option to show what they do. They've increased the speed of scrolling when scrolling the map with the gamepad's R stick. They changed the color of icons for hard difficulty void intercept battles on the world map to make it easier to distinguish them from normal difficulty battles. The map no longer displays the marker when a quest NPC being tracked disappears. The modification modules for the same Descendant are now displayed together in a row in the library. When the first clear reward and repeat clear reward are the same, The acquisition info in the library no longer shows them both. Okay. When selecting all duplicate modules in dismantle modules, you can now use a filter to register only selected modules for dismantling. Okay. They simplified the module combining animation. They're starting a research in the materials tab of the research menu now returns you to the materials tab. Added the leave party button to the social menu to make the function easier to find. They added a search function to the consumables menu. Even when acquiring skins for Descendants not currently in use, the red dot still appears. Okay. Added the red dot when acquiring paint. The red dot now appears in the weapons list side tab 2 when acquiring a weapon skin. Alright, that about covers it for content improvements. Now let's talk about Descendant and module changes, okay? So for Descendant and module changes, they've increased the poison contagion range of Freyna's Room 0 trauma from 4 meters to 7 meters, which is quite a large change. They've increased the maximum scaling range of Valby's skills from 200% to 250%. They've increased the maximum scaling range of Blair's skills from 200% to 250%. What this means is that Blair's skills have not actually received a direct buff to their radius, unlike Freyna's skills. For Valby and Blair, you can basically stack on more range increase if you need to get their skills to be much larger if you want to. They can increase in radius up to 250%. Many people have expressed dissatisfaction with this change. I would say I kind of agree. I feel that they should have buffed the base range and kept the max expandable range to 200%, and that would have been fine. So I'm not too happy with that. I think the base range should have been buffed, just like with Freyna. They've changed the blizzard generated by VS's Glacial Cloud module to be triggered instantly without delay. They've changed Valby's Albion Academy Cadet head skin to be dyeable. And they've changed the incoming final damage to incoming damage modifier in the description of the safe recovery module. Okay? Alright, now, equipment. Okay, this one you want to pay attention to. Why? Because there's some pretty critical changes here. They've added a feature in the game options that enables some single shot and burst weapons to fire automatically when the fire button is pressed and held down. Please enable this option immediately. As soon as I can get in game, I'll definitely be enabling this option because it's pretty important. Increase the Enduring Legacy's critical hit damage from 1.7 times to 2.3 times. This means that the Enduring Legacy's critical hit damage is going to go way up, so build it for crits. They've increased the Secret Garden's critical hit rate from 35% to 50%. This is going to be one of the highest crit rates in the game, especially with an increased critical hit modifier. And the critical hit damage has gone from 1.85 times to 2.25 times. So this is a serious buff for Secret Garden. Nazeistra's Devotion has similarly received a big buff from 36% to 45% of the critical hit rate. And the critical hit damage has gone from 2 times to 2.25 times. Alright? So for those of you who like Nazeistras, alright, and you like hand cannons, this is going to be good for you. They have decreased the trigger rate of bombardment of Greg's Reversed Fate, but it also triggers when the weapon is fired at unshielded enemies. So if you're firing it on shield, whether it's shielded enemies or unshielded enemies, Greg's Reversed Fate can trigger. Equipment can now be dismantled at once with no quantity limit. Okay. Now, next to the field changes, so the equipment changes are mostly buffs for equipment, and I think it's pretty fantastic. I can't wait to try out the Secret Garden and Nazeistras with all this stuff. I think it's going to be excellent. Okay. Now, for the field changes, what they've done is that they've increased the amount of void shards that can be acquired from special operations by about 7 times. Previously, we tried this out. I wasn't too impressed, but I'm willing to try it again. Hotfix 1.04 added void shards as rewards to special operations. This is the director's comment. But unfortunately, there were just too few. The original intent was to keep void fragments as the primary farming source for void shards and get additional void shards from special operations. The community, however, has fed back that they don't like this loop, so they've increased the amount of void shards that can be earned in special operations, and they're also working on some steps for future improvements. Many players are currently farming materials without spending fragments at the fusion reactor, so we're considering removing the fragments from the fusion reactor startup altogether. This would make fragments necessary only when the reconstruction device is used at the fusion reactor. So, alright. However, you're still going to need fragments if you want the rewards from the amorphous material. We're taking a close look at how the reward loop and plan works. And the reward loop... Oh my god, let me just reset that. They're taking a close look at how the reward loop works in practice. And they'll try to finalize a reward loop that players will be satisfied with in the near future. I swear, my Asian English comes out at the worst possible times. But anyway... They've reduced the distance you're knocked down when you're hit by a trap, so this will help in some of the maps where there's a lot of laser traps, and especially in the hard mode, it can get a bit dicey. They've lowered the ratio at which a named monster's immunity sphere, HP, scales with the number of players in infiltration operations, and they've reduced the duration of the immunity. So take note of that. Those that have like that, those phases where the spheres are immune, the duration should be reduced, and also the hit points of the immunity spheres should have dropped. Okay, Agna Desert, Vespers, Echo Swamp, White Knight Gulch, Hagios, and Fortress Fields will now have a 100% chance to spawn encrypted vaults. Okay. They've increased the hitbox size in the data collection missions to make it easier to collect the data. The outside environmental sounds are now less audible in the indoor areas in Kingston. And they've adjusted the distance that monsters spawn in the laboratory to be closer as 15 meters. Okay. All right. Miscellaneous. They've balanced the sound levels for shield destruction, notification, material research, result window, etc. They've added optimizations for PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PS4, and Xbox One as well. Okay, in terms of bug fixes, all right, here's what they've done. They have fixed an issue where enemies defeated by unique effects of the ultimate weapons were not counted in the Battle Pass challenges and awards. They have fixed an issue where the capacity cost reduced by matching socket types was not displayed in the weapon module enhancement screen. They have fixed an issue where closing the capacity exceeded warning message while enhancing a module made the game inoperable. They fixed an issue where restarting an intercept battle, infiltration operation, or special operation after completing it would not matchmake you with allies who applied to restart with you. They've revised the description on the info screen that incorrectly stated that the damage taken decreases the higher the incoming damage modifier, so that it now states that the damage taken decreases the lower the modifier. So what this garbled sentence means, all right, or maybe it's just me that's reading it garbled. What it means is that the lower your incoming damage modifier, all right, the lower the damage you take is. Is this really worth it? Not really anymore, because we already know that defense, damage reduction, defense all really aren't as much of a factor as hit points. So for those that are using this, I guess you can, but I haven't really had a desire to use this, so, you know. Okay. Fix an issue when completing a mission with a weapon that has been socketed at least once would appear to give mastery rank XP when in fact it does not. Fixed an issue where the names of the core materials and blueprints of ultimate weapons were swapped. Fixed an issue where the quantity of attached paint was not displayed in the mailbox. Fixed an issue where DBNO, down but not out, UI animation would persist when a DBNO ally left and another ally joined. Fixed an issue where changing loadouts while in combat is not possible, but UI would switch to the selected loadout. Okay. Descendants. Now, these fixes are focused on the Descendants, so follow me through it. They fixed an issue where Lepic could trigger the Overkill skill while at 0 MP when equipping the Increased Efficiency module. They fixed an issue where Eugen could not target an ally when using Solidarity Healing if part of their body was covered by an object. They fixed an issue where down but not out allies rescued by Eugen could not use any skills for a short period of time after rescue. They fixed an issue where switching weapons after using VS's Frost Road skill causes the skill's visual effect to remain. They fixed an issue where the knockdown range of Valby's Plop Plop skill was larger than the actual skill range. They fixed an issue where Enzo's shoot support was not applied to allies. They fixed an issue where using Ultimate Glaze Massacre or Life Siphon did not increase her skill damage when she was above 50% hit points. They fixed an issue where Glaze Life Siphon and her modification modules, Massive Sanguification and Explosive Life, could be used on objects in Intercept battles. Okay. They fixed an issue where Kyle's Repulsion Dash could be used on objects in Intercept battles. They fixed an issue where the skill animation of Kyle's Repulsion Dash skill would intermittently be cancelled. That's great. They fixed an issue where the power of Ultimate Bunny's lightning emission was determined by the amount of electricity she had at the time of use. Unlike Bunny, the power of Bunny's lightning emission depends on the amount of electricity she currently has. Okay. Fixed an issue where Bunny's maximum power skill's sound pitch went up infinitely and sounded like noise. They fixed an issue where Izimo would become uncontrollable when using the RK explosion skill. They fixed an issue where after Ultimate Viesa uses Frost Road with the Absolute Zero module or Valby used Laundry Bomb, Ajax placing a barrier on top of it inflicted reflective damage on Ultimate Viesa or Valby. Oh dear. Okay, that is wild. I did not... That's a crazy bug. I'm glad they fixed that though. Okay. Now, in terms of equipment, I want you guys to follow along with this because this one has a Thunder Cage thing that sounds like a nerf, but it's actually a buff. Okay? They fixed an issue where moving on the field with 3 or 4 pieces of an external component set prevented the 2-piece set effect from being applied, so those of you with sets will now benefit even more. They fixed an issue where the damage of hitting the ultimate weapon King's Guard Lance after it was deployed was recorded in statistics. They fixed an issue where the ultimate weapon Executor's hipfire accuracy was lower than where it should be. They fixed an issue where the ultimate weapon Thunder Cage's unique effect would deal more than 1.33 times damage when monsters were clustered. Instead, Electric Shockwave now deals 2 times damage regardless of the number of enemies. So during internal testing, we discovered a bug with the Thunder Cage. The Thunder Cage should always deal 1.33 times damage according to its description, but it was dealing more than 1.33 times damage when there were a lot of monsters. They fixed the bug, but they boosted the 1.33 times damage multiplier to 2 times so that it doesn't become less efficient when hunting. They're well aware of the value of the items that we own, and to ensure that fixing a bug doesn't devalue the items that we've invested in or worked on, they have given it more power than they originally intended so that, we are fairly compensated for the loss. If something like this happens again in future, they will not stop at simply fixing the bug, but they want to consider how to preserve the value of our items to provide a reasonable patch to us. All right. This director's comment is huge because basically they don't want to take away our power fantasy. They don't want to nerf our stuff into the ground. What they want to do is ensure that whatever we do in game, the things that we do, stuff that we invest in, remains valuable. And that's crucial. These devs are so based. I can't stop loving them. They're amazing. They fixed an issue where you could hear 1 or 2 extra shots when firing single shots with a repeating firearm. Interesting. Okay. Now, they fixed a lot of module bugs, so bear with me. Let's read through this together. They fixed an issue where the firearm critical hit rate increase effect was missing in the description of Valby's supply moisture module. They fixed an issue where Valby's tidal wave module would not properly stack finishing attack when piercing an enemy. They fixed an issue where equipping Ajax's body enhancement module would have a different final result values depending on when it was saved. They fixed an issue where if the matrix recomputation module was equipped by Ajax, the shield would recover every time after a very short while, and the shield started at 50% after equipment. Okay. They fixed an issue where the Pitmaster passive would remain indefinitely when Blair removed the classic Chef module while Flame Zone was in effect. They fixed an issue where the knockback effect would not trigger when Blair used Deadly Cuisine when equipped with the Backdraft module. They fixed an issue where the name of the Sharp Precision Shot module's buff was incorrectly shown as Lethal Finish. They fixed an issue where Bunny's evolving skin quest requirements were not counted when Bunny equipped a modification module. They fixed an issue where Bunny unequipping the electrical condense module left a status effect display that did not have an effect. They fixed an issue where Glaze Predator Instinct module skill displayed the frenzied state icon and the name twice when used. They fixed an issue where Ultimate Glaze Demonic Modification module sometimes did not deal damage when used. Okay. They've now made some field changes which you guys need to be aware of. They have fixed an issue where defeating named monsters at the same time as the Void Fusion Reactor mission was being deleted allowed players to use the reconstructing device without consuming void shards. Interesting bug. They fixed an issue where the zone map of Hagios Old Mystery showed different paths from actual paths. They fixed an issue where the traps would remain on restart after dying in the no resurrection zone in Hagios the Haven. They fixed an issue where movement markers would appear while progressing through the Void Fusion Reactor. They fixed an issue where roaming monsters would not spawn on the White Knight Gulch hatchery battlefield. They've changed the amorphous material patterns and shape stabilizers acquired from hard infiltration operations in the White Knight Gulch and Hagios. Okay, so these are the changes. 114, 115 to 104, 105, 116, 117 to 106, 107. All right. And in Hagios the Haven and Old Mystery, they've changed it to the AA variants. All right, so look forward to that. And the stabilizers have gone from Form 6 to Form 7. Here, it's from Form 7 to Form 6. Okay? So hopefully that sorts things out. Okay, here are some miscellaneous bug fixes. They have fixed an intermittent terrain rendering bug. They've also fixed an issue on Xbox One and Xbox One S where textures would intermittently display black lines. They fixed an issue where the subquest Obtain Freyna's Research Materials 1 would complete after clearing Rockfall Vulgar Strategic Outpost, even if the amorphous material pattern Freyna was not obtained. Fixed an issue where the subquest Prepare to obtain additional materials for Freyna research could not be completed with Ultimate Bunny. They fixed an issue where the camera would intermittently freeze when removing parts during intercept battles. And they fixed an issue where the Elite Vulgar special effect Chasing Orb would not deal damage. Okay, so there's an additional comment from the director, and this I think is pretty important as well. The First Descendant director, Min Seok Ju, wants to outline the devs team's plans for issues that are frequently discussed by the community. The team is currently working on Season 1 and Season 2 updates while also responding to improvement issues discovered during the live service. They want to talk more about how they plan to improve the current state of the First Descendant rather than about Season 1 and Season 2 updates. So today, the focus is on how they plan to improve the game. First of all, there's a planned improvement to drop rates. The drop rate system is operating fairly, and I've realized that many people don't understand how drop rate chances work. I will do a video explanation on this at a later time. But some people are struggling with drop rates and how they work and all that kind of stuff. So in order to address this, they are planning to introduce a new system where you can more easily get the item you want after repeating the activity a certain number of times. This would be equivalent to a pity system in some gacha games, but we'll have to see how they intend to implement it. The First Descendant has various missions and amorphous materials with chance-dependent rewards. They're considering how they can effectively take care of the drop rate issue with such a diverse reward system. They're working to create a farming structure that players will be happy with, and they hope to make improvements before long and provide a more rational and satisfying farming experience. All right? So keep your eye on that one. The drop rate changes are not implemented now. There is no unfairness in the drop rates. Again, I will do a video explaining this at a later time and explaining probabilities and the math behind it for all of you as well. But for now, just know drop rates are fair, okay? They are not, secretly rigged or anything like that. And in future, they might address this. They might address this with a pity system. We'll see, okay? Disposing of leftover items. Okay, many of y'all got a lot of Izimo's enhanced cells or whatever other cells, Enzo stabilizers sitting around doing nothing. You can't get rid of them. You can't dismantle them. So what are they going to do? Plain and simple, they have been listening to the community, and what they don't want is to just convert these items to gold or kyber. They are planning a system where we can dismantle these to get byproducts. All right, so a special material. Excuse me. And that special material will be used in a rotating shop system where we can exchange the byproducts for something of value. So we'll have to see what this rotating shop system does, but I think it'll be pretty interesting. All right, so do look forward to that. Supporting build diversity. Okay, I'm going to summarize this for you guys. Right now, they want us to have more ways of trying loadouts. So they realize that when we're going for full builds, we're catalyzing a lot of slots, and this is stopping us from experimenting. So what they want to do is they want to make it so we can more freely experiment with the kind of builds that we have going. So they want to adjust this in future. I don't know how they'll adjust it, but they say they want to adjust it. Okay. and they're loving the various builds that we've come up with and all that kind of stuff, but they want us to be able to experiment more without being fully committed. So this is, I think, a massive win. In regards to balancing, they also want to tell us that they're seeing a dominance of skill damage focused builds for some Descendants, and weapons that are well suited for these builds are currently very popular. They want the meta builds to basically change from season to season, and they want the Descendants and weapons that are effective in the new content to be different from those in the previous seasons. So they're looking to increase the proportion of firearm-based combat for the end game. They can't promise that all Descendants and weapons are going to be equally balanced at all times, but their goal is to keep changing the effective builds. Alright? So to that end, they promise to make consistent adjustments and offer different ways to play new content. Okay? That is about... They are aiming to implement these in Season 1 and 2, but there's no clear timeline for release. Your feedback means a lot to the dev team, so please give them feedback constantly. Okay? That brings us to the end of the patch notes. Half an hour. This is a massive patch. But ladies and gents, these devs are based. These are the most based devs that I've ever seen. If you have feedback, constructive feedback, approach the official Discord, approach them on Twitter, Reddit, their social media, wherever. Give them the feedback. They want to listen to the community. So give them the feedback. All right? Next, if you guys haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. Okay? And please be sure to register me as your content creator. How do you do that? Link in the description of the video. All right? Register me as your content creator, and I promise you accurate information at all times. And if I'm inaccurate on anything, don't worry. I'll correct it. Now, I want to give a bit of a special thanks. There are some individuals, stopping the rain sounds for a moment. There are some individuals who already know about my birthday on the 1st of August, and they have chosen to basically hit the leaderboard already for our, monthly supporter board. And I just want to give a special shout out to TX Panda King, George Tichon, and Sebastian Lachance. Thank you so much for your kind support and for the red, or as we call them, Transcendent super chats that you guys have given me on stream. Thank you in advance for those lovely birthday gifts. Thank you to our top tier channel members, okay, those at the OnlyFan tier and of course at the Plus Ultra tier. Thank you guys so much. I'll be reading your names again soon in videos after the July month ends. So please look forward to that. If you want to be named in my videos, please do get on the leaderboard, okay? Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Sorry about my voice. I'll see you on the next time.